I'm Bandini Made, record collector, spinner, DJ.
Spinner DJ. So the reason I invited Bandini Made is because if you know me, you know that I'm heavy into record collection, and I don't think that this topic is spoken enough in our community, because I think it's a big chunk of, when I say our community, I mean like the Chicano culture, the Southern California Chicano culture of, oldies, soul, funk, and these sort of soundtracks to our youth. I don't think they shed enough light on the people that are still keeping that alive. Is definitely a centerpiece in how we were raised up. So that's the reason that I brought the homie in, and just wanted to chop it up about the culture of collecting 45s and the culture of soulful oldies and keeping that alive. So the name, where does the name come from?
Bandini Made?
Yeah.
Bandini is actually the area of the city of Commerce that I grew up in.
Okay.
So it was my Instagram name, actually, you know, when I started spinning, collecting records.
Got you.
And it just took off from there,
Right, Bandini Made. So that's the name of the city?
No, it's an area in the city of Commerce.
Oh, it's an area in the city. So you grew up in the city of Commerce.
Yes.
For sure. So how did you start, your journey in collecting 45s?
Well, first of all, it was getting familiar with the music.
Right.
And there wasn't too much access to 45s back when I was listening,
Right.
becoming familiar with it in 99.
Right.
You had very few sources to get music like that, which was the Santa Fe Spring Swami.
Mm-hmm.
You'd get, which was the mixed CDs.
Right.
With people that made the CDs with their actual collection of 45s that they've collected.
Right.
So that's how I became familiar with the music, and you couldn't get it other than them CDs back then unless you knew about record collecting or going out there digging and knowing what you're looking for.
Right. So what year did you start collecting 45s?
I'll say I started collecting at about 2017. I started getting few here, few there.
Right.
Just kind of getting into it.
So when was the first time you owned a record player?
Since I was a kid, there's always been a record player in the house.
Gotcha.
So I was familiar with records from LPs.
Right.
From when I was a kid, I still got the last of the Beastie Boys and a few other, hip hop LPs before cassettes became heavy.
Right. So you collect 45s exclusively, or do you
exclusively 45s?
45s. So why do you hate? Not just kidding. Why do you not collect albums?
Okay, so albums, there's not 45s are more valuable than albums, and for me, albums take up a lot of space.
Yeah, they do.
So you have to have the space to keep them in the condition you want them in.
Right.
And if you don't, then you're just gonna,
100% agree, because I collect albums, and if I ever move from my home, I gotta hire a few Home Depot homies.
And you're gonna have you have to have somewhere to put them and store them correctly.
Yeah. So you don't really collect at all. No albums, mainly just 45s.
Mainly 45s. There might be a few albums here and there, classics that I could play all the way through that I'll grab.
Right. So as far as 45s, where do you dig? Can I go to a thrift shop right now, or and find, because you go to a thrift shop and you find stacks of 45s? Is it still possible to go to a thrift shop and find like something very rare if I go through those?
So thrift shops, those are collections that might have been donated.
Right.
You might find a gem there, if you know what you're looking for, if you're familiar with the stuff.
Right. Because I know albums, I think when you go to thrift shops, you see a bunch of like a lot of trash. So what I'm saying is there, if I go to a thrift shop, the chances of me finding a decent record, is it slim, or?
It's slim. It's slim.
But, yeah.
Like I said, they're people's collections, so I'm not saying they're not out there, but.
Where do you dig?
Digging, not too much anymore. You could go to record stores, but mainly the records that I collect, I'll get from Discogs, which is a platform.
Right. So,
And
so your digging is more pinpointed, like you know what you're coming after, and
exactly,
you
yes,
shop around
yes.
for it. You don't really go out there and try to discover guests or nothing
Unless
like that.
I'm out of town,
Right.
you know, small town, you know, record store, go check out what they got.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Sounds of Music, they got stuff to dig through, but you
Right.
know they're limited to the stuff they got.
So let's say you're randomly out of town and you go to a thrift shop and there's stacks of 45s. Would you go through the stacks, or you don't
Yeah,
really?
definitely.
Oh, you would?
Definitely.
For sure. What's your most valuable record?
The most valuable record I got in my box would be Fred Paris, I'll Keep Holding On.
And how much is that, if you don't mind me asking?
That last sold for $700.
Do you sell records?
No,
You don't
I
sell?
don't sell my records, but you know, I'm not saying I won't. You know, one
Yeah.
day something might happen, and there's a lot of value in what I got. So
How big is your collection?
it's in a box of maybe about 100 records.
145 total?
Yeah, 45's that are the most valuable because
Yeah.
you know you could get anything from $2 to $10, $15.
Right. Yeah.
Talking about the big ones, maybe about 9,000 and probably like 50 records.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
The my most valuable ones probably got 9,000 value and 50 records.
Oh, 9,000. 9,000 value. Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. But you own about 100 records total.
Oh
About
no,
145?
I don't know how many I own. I'm saying I just keep my most valuable.
Oh, your
ones
most valuable.
aside from
Got
my
you.
regular listening and.
Now, if you came across a very rare 45 and it's in bad condition, would you still hold on to it, keep it?
Definitely, because if it's a rare record, there ain't too many of them out there. You know,
Yeah.
there's records that are very few in existence, maybe
Right.
10. You know,
Right, but you wouldn't play it or spin it out in the world if it sounds too.
you know what? It just depends. I personally like that sound.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, of the crackling, say the chorizo cracking
Yeah,
in the
that's
background.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. So, most of your records, are they in great condition?
my most valuable ones, yes, you gotta keep them in good condition to
Yeah.
keep them valued high.
Right, right, right. So, what do you collect? What do you go after for the most
It's
part?
rare soul,
Rare soul.
so that's you know records you really
Yeah.
can't find and
So just soul, like oldies type. No
Oh,
funk. How about funk and stuff?
no funk.
Just soul. Now there is a community of people that collect funk and different
Right, yes.
different stuff. And how about like these new groups, right? You got like Mayor Hawthorne, and you got these kind of neo oldie bands.
Right.
What I forgot the name of. But you know what I'm talking about,
Modern
right?
soul genre.
What is it?
Modern soul.
Modern soul, right? How do you feel about those bands?
They're cool. You know, they touch on some classics and might make them sound alright. But I do like when they come out with their own
With their own,
music
yeah.
that's like new classics. You know, something.
But how do you feel about that movement?
The music. I love the music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a part of the culture now. You
Yeah.
know, these are younger people coming in and putting their twist onto what you know
Right.
we put our twist on years back. So
I personally really enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? I think that the thing is that it's very rare for instruments to be played nowadays, especially like with hip hop and stuff.
Right.
Everything's made on the keyboard. So I appreciate the fact that people are pulling out the instruments, and I appreciate that they're kind of paying homage and pretty much mimicking the sound. It sounds different because it sounds a little crispier, different mix.
Right.
And you're never going to capture the same sound, right? And it's not, with all due respect, the oldies are way, you know what I'm saying? That's the real deal. But I think that they do a great job. I forget the name of the bands. Do you know any of the bands off the top of your head?
there's a Sacred The Sinceres,
The Sinceres, yes.
Joey Quinones.
That dude is really dope, man.
Yeah, his voice
Yeah.
and the music he plays is really good.
Yeah, oh, go ahead.
He writes a lot of songs for these modern soul artists.
Right. Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely appreciate, and my father-in-law, he's a Chicano, and he goes to a lot of the concerts from, like the old school concerts with, Roger and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And he is he's a big enthusiast when it comes to that type of music, and he really appreciates these new groups and these new bands. So when the old school guys, they stamp it, you got to respect it, because they, like I said, man, I appreciate the fact that they bring out the instruments and they mimic the sound, and I think they do a great job. It's not better than the original, because you can't, you know what I mean, but I think it's really dope, and I personally really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, they're doing it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, this past weekend I was at the Fool in Love concert.
Oh, I heard about that.
So the festival, it was wild, man.
Yeah.
But at that first stage, they had a lot of the modern soul performers, and that side of the venue was flooded with people, man. People that knew the music, people that knew the songs, and it was just a trip to see so many people. Not just Chicanos, you had different types of people from all over, the world. Not all over the world, but different
nationality and ethnicity.
Yeah, and just vibing to the music, man, and it was a trip. Yeah, you had the Sincieres, Trish Toledo, Bobby Arosa, Duran Jones, which is really
Duran Jones
is doing that group is doing their thing.
I think the reason that people probably flooded that is because, with all due respect, the older acts are getting older, so they don't have the same energy, the youthful energy that they once had.
Right.
So now these new groups, they come with that energy. Everything is about energy. So when the acts are a little bit younger, or they're younger, they bring out more energy, and it lights people up a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been to a few concerts, and I'll see the older groups, and they hanging in there. They're not what it once was. You know what I'm saying?
Right, man, and that's why you take advantage to see them. Smokey Robinson was there at the show, and man, never would I thought I'd seen Smokey Robinson
perform.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of great acts there.
So who are some of your favorite artists as far as the rare oldies and the rare soul?
See, okay, now this is the thing about rare oldies. These are one-hit bands.
Yeah.
That didn't have two hits.
Right.
Maybe two hits. know. So they only had one song. They probably only pressed about 200 records at that time. You figure these are 50s, 60s, 70s. Out of 200 records, whatever was sold. Whatever didn't, might have been trashed, or whatever was done with them. So there's not really a group I could say, oh, I like these songs from these group. It's like I like this one from that group, or just this one. You could say you like that group and you know what song it is.
Right. So do you collect any 45's of like the dramatics, stuff like that?
So that I do have a lot of my classics. I have in my collection. Those are my Sunday vibing. Throw them on the record player, barbecue, stuff like that. But I do keep them around because the way the culture is now, people like seeing people playing 45's. So you play the classics on 45's. It makes it look a lot better than just playing it on
100%.
your computer, on YouTube or whatever app.
So as far as like a sort of a mainstream soul band, like the OJs and stuff like that, who is your top three as far as those type of groups?
So my favorite three growing up were the Delphonics, Blue Magic, and I'll say between Santana or El Chicano, because I love that East LA Chicano sound. But El Chicano and Malo are,
Yeah. So are any of those rare soul 45's, are any of them Raza bands or groups?
Yeah. Chicano soul and Latin soul.
Chicano soul. So you have a lot of Chicano soul?
No, I got very few because they're expensive, especially Chicano soul. There ain't too many around. And if there are, you got to find somebody that wants to sell it.
Right. So I just recently, I think I found out that Angel Baby was a Chicana. Is that true?
Rosie, yeah.
I never knew that. That's one of the joints, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
Angel Baby?
That's one of the first oldies that I liked. And I grew up Mexican, I didn't grow up Chicano. So it wasn't in the household.
Yeah.
There was Mexican music, know. But my pops brought home the movie Colors one day.
Yeah.
And that song was on there.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's crazy. They filmed Colors right here down the street, the alley where they're walking. They're kind of deep.
Oh, right,
It's
right,
on
yeah.
the next block over. Yeah.
That's a
So,
trip.
but yeah, I just recently found out that Angel Baby was a Chicana artist, and
Right.
I was pretty happy to hear that. You know what I'm saying? I never thought about it. You know? And
Right.
then once I listened, I'm like, oh, that is a Latina singing that. That's pretty dope. Who is that?
Rosie and the name of the group is
Yeah,
Rosie and the Originals. I don't know the Rosie's last
yeah,
name.
did they have another hit or was it just that one?
They did have another hit, called Lonely Nights, I believe.
Lonely Nights.
But she has a CD that there's good music, and her
Okay.
voice is, yeah, you could, you know it when you hear it.
Right, right.
So some of those songs are pretty cool if you like the Angel Baby.
Now, did East Side Story, did they have 45s?
They didn't. It's
didn't.
just LPs.
Just
It was like a
LPs.
compilation of 45s.
Right, right. It was a compilation of 45s, but they did have the LPs. That's right.
Right.
And the reason I asked that is because did they used to have the CDs? The East Sides?
Yeah, East Side
E-
Stories, cassettes,
Yes,
CDs.
cassettes. Because I remember, I think I only knew about, because I never collected vinyl when I was a kid, so I remember the East Side Story on CDs, and then later on it blew my mind. I'm like, oh, these are vinyls, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you don't collect those albums?
No, those LPs. No, you if you could find the original ones, first pressings, they're expensive, But you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
find them now at car shows, from vendors and stuff
Right.
like that for $50 an album.
Damn, $50.
Yeah.
So what type of events do you usually or the difference between are you a DJ? Do you spin?
Okay,
If
so
you could break that
I
down?
do DJ on the computer, which is a lot easier,
Right,
and you can play whatever you want.
right.
But as far as my records, I just spin.
You just spin.
Because, there's no mixing involved. It's just slapping on records and...
Right. And how do you go about getting a name? Like people that are out there, they have, how do you get a name in that genre or in that craft of being a spinner? Like how do you become that guy type? What does it take? Is there that guy?
Uh, there's a lot of...
That
there's a lot
guys?
of the guys,
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean... But as far as for me, if you getting yourself out there, social media, showing off your collection,
Right.
and just getting in with the right people because, well, I played my music through social media, put my records out there,
Right.
and one of my good friends now, Santana Soul, he seen me and invited me on his show. He has a show where he invites collectors like myself to play
Right.
the records and puts them out there on social media, different platforms
Right.
to be heard. And I did. We talked, got along, hung out, and I started doing the radio show with them. I help them out, technical stuff, flyers,
Right.
and I play music to open up the show every show. And he interviews collectors, and that's really what made a name for me.
Right.
So just
Is it possible to make a living off of this?
collecting records
Or spinning?
spinning.
Or being a 45 enthusiast?
It's possible, if you get enough bars and put your time into that.
Is there people right now living off of it?
I don't know too much into their personal lives,
right.
but there's people that make money off
Yeah,
of it.
right. So the guys that have the name, what is it about them that they have? Do they have the most rare records? Is it their branding? Is it marketing? Is it being out there? What makes
Being
them
out there, marketing,
just everything, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Everything, just having the rare stuff and
The person you are, image.
Yeah.
Image has a lot to do
image,
with it.
of course.
A lot of people really ain't who they play themselves out to be,
Right.
And it's just image, money.
Yeah. Do you ever? Because like for instance, myself, I want to quit doing my craft every other week. I'm like,
Right.
man, I'm done with this. Do you ever feel like what I'm saying?
Definitely. As far as the being out there, playing the music, trying
Right.
to make something out of it,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Especially because you were telling me earlier you stopped drinking, so that does
Yeah,
take away from
definitely.
it.
A lot. It does take a lot of the vibe out of it, but the music is still the same. You might not feel it the same, but you know.
It's funny because now that I think about it, you know, a tall can spinning records or listening to it's just a vibe, man.
It is, and
You
it
know?
looks cool, man.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Who
Yeah,
don't want to be sitting with high ass day playing the music you love?
yeah,
You know, playing the records that you have that nobody else has to show them off.
yeah.
Like, yeah, check it out. Check it.
The alcohol is a component in that, you know, because it is true. I remember when I used to drink and I would play certain songs, you just kind of feel them, or you're like you almost go to where you were at when you first heard them. Type. I don't know. It's something, you know what I mean? It's something about it.
And you could sing them and perform them actually. You
Yeah.
know, like be up there and do the whole nine with the.
Damn, it sucks. That's the bad part about not drinking alcohol, especially for you, because like me, I could make music and I stay entertained making beats, and it's very entertaining. You know what I'm saying? Spinning records, not that it's not entertaining, but you're not creating, so you're just kind of chilling there listening.
You know what? And that's what I do. That's the part that makes me happy. I am creating a vibe. You know.
You're right.
So
you are right.
It just depends. Like me, when I'm out there, I don't want to play my rare sad stuff. You know, there are places for that.
Yeah.
But if you're at a bar, you got an event, you want to get people moving.
Yeah.
You want to create that vibe.
Yeah.
So to me, that's my favorite part of doing it on stage. Like, all right, I got these records. I'm gonna mix them in like this.
Yeah.
I know how I want it to go.
Yeah, you're right. I'm slipping right there, bro. You do create a vibe. You know what I mean?
That vibe is what, you know, that's my alcohol now. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, you see people dancing
Yeah.
and, you know, they're like, know, they're loving what you're doing.
Because you're moving people with your mind.
Right.
And your records. You're like,
and, you know, anybody could play records. You know, it's just what vibe and how you keeping it. To me, there's an order the way songs should go.
Yeah.
You know? There's a lot of ways that I play my music that, you know, if you pay attention, you know, music, you know, like, damn, he kept the whole.
Yeah. So do you got sets?
Yeah.
You got sets?
I got my records together the way I want to play them, you
Right.
know. Sometimes it might not go as planned.
Right.
Because you might have somebody that played the record already or whatever. So you have to improvise, that's why I carry a big box.
Yeah.
To be able to, like, all right, I'm gonna substitute that with this. And
so what determines what set you're gonna play? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does the crowd tell you, like, for what set you get what I'm saying?
Well, I always hit them up with the what I call the boogie down, my boogie set.
Yeah.
And then you read the crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it might just be a chill vibe, you know, and play some chill stuff, or you know, depending on the event. Like I said, there are events where you go and you play your rarest, and it might sound like the saddest song in the world. But you know, that's what the people are there for.
Right. Is there any I wouldn't say celebrities, but who are some, like, I know Sick Jackin collects 45's, right?
Right.
Is there any other, like, big name people outside of the community that you know that are collectors that we might not, like Sick Jackin, I know he does.
Oh, as far as people that do music, you know what I mean?
Who's into the 45 scene that's, you know,
really nobody that
nobody really, huh? Maybe there is, we just don't know. But I know Sick Jackin is heavy on it, right?
Yeah, definitely. He's heavy on the samples, man, and you can hear it.
Yeah, but he collects, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And he spins, I think. And I mean, you could hear that in his music. Like, that's heavy. I mean, it's a trip because like we were speaking earlier, how this is essentially black music, but I think that our culture, when it comes to Southern California raza, we are into it more than I think black folks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really see that many black folks being into the 45 scene and spinning rare oldies.
Right.
It's kind of like we adopted it and not took it over, because, you know, you get what I'm saying. So it's a trip because we just keep it alive, you know what I'm saying? And
we're putting it out there. You know, the Chicano culture is
yeah, we're keeping that music alive. Right. And it's funny because even when you think about, like, Tupac, right? You don't really hear black people bumping Tupac. Who do you hear bumping Tupac? Raza, Chicanos, Mexicans. We bump Tupac to this day. Like, I'm not saying like it just dropped, but we keep it alive. We're very nostalgic. We like looking back. Black folks, they create and they move forward. They create, they move forward. We like our back in the day music. You know what I'm saying? And
that's true.
And I think it's a great thing, man, because of this music right here. I would say is probably my favorite genre: soul, funk, and reggae. And it's a music that, you know, I definitely don't think that should go unheard.
Right, it's a vibe. It's just those three that you say right there, a whole different vibe.
Is everything on Spotify?
No, see that's the thing about how rare these tracks are. Some records you might hear because somebody posted it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And some you just might hear because you were at the event he played it at.
Is everything on YouTube?
Not everything. Not a lot of people like to share. See, now that's deeper into, you know, people don't like to share the information about their collection.
I think it's better that everything's not on YouTube because it adds mystique. It's still, because everything, once you have access to everything, it loses value. You know what I'm saying? So do you ever get upset when you see somebody loading up like something like rare, like, yo, why you putting that out there, dude? Like, do you ever feel that way?
Well, see, and that's the thing now, that a lot of these, some of the rare tracks that I have now, ain't even rare no more because they're popular.
Yeah.
They're just valuable now. You know what I mean? Right. Well, to me, you know, they're rare to find, but they're popular now. You know, it's not something you have to really look forward to listen to, or have to be at an event to listen to it.
How do you discover new rare oldies, or have you heard everything that you?
No, there's people coming up with songs all the time. It's just, you know, digging, finding.
Like, how do you discover the new? Like, how are you going to discover the next record you want? The next record that you want to buy.
The next record I want.
Yeah. How do you discover?
How I started, just listening to heavy collectors play it.
So you listen to other collectors. You're like, yo, I want that one.
Yeah, there's events where heavy collectors will come out, and you know they carry a box, or maybe like.
Has everything been heard?
No, definitely.
Is there still stuff out there that,
sure there
like,
is,
yo,
man.
Like, damn, there's still stuff out there that hasn't been, not a lot. It can't be a lot. It can't be a lot, is it?
You figure, I mean, these groups, they're one-time groups, you know, doing music out of a backyard, out of a garage.
But I'm saying, because records, they deteriorate, they get scratched. How do you
preserve them?
Preserve them? Do you even, you know? There's
cases of where people found a box in an attic, or, you know, that record might have been rare, worth $2,000, $3,000, $4,000.
Right.
Now that box of record surfaces, and it brings that value of that record down.
Now let's say you hear somebody spin a joint that you're like, yo, what is that? I want to. Do you ask him, hey, what is that? Or
okay, now you got to know who to ask, because some of you don't ask if you don't want to be embarrassed. They tell you to fuck yourself.
Yeah.
You know, some of you just. I know certain people that'll ask, like, hey, they'll show you the record. And,
how about if somebody asks you? You cover your homework?
No, I'll show them. You know?
Yeah, like, yo, this is boom boom. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. How is there a lot of inventory in Discogs for rare oldies and so?
Oh no. Sometimes you'll find it. You'll find the information, and I'll put it in my want list.
Yeah.
So if it ever does pop up, it'll notify you.
For sure.
You know, and those.
How much do you spend on 45's a month? As of lately?
Oh, I don't. It's not a month. It's just like if.
In 1 year.
In a year.
How much did you spend last year on 45's?
Probably like 2,000.
Damn. 2,000. Do you ever go to?
I do buy modern soul, and you know, stuff that stacks up like $20, $30 ones here, there. That stack up to a couple hundred, but then there's certain people that will post them on social media, and I'll be like, fuck, all right, I need to jump on it. If I don't, who knows when it'll come by again.
Yeah. Do you go to Amoeba?
I go, but not really for records like that, more for the, you know, just going around checking out the merch and different stuff. But yeah, I check out the records from time to time.
How big is your modern soul collection?
There's a lot of newer stuff out there. I have most of the more popular stuff. The
Oh,
stuff you want to hear. You know what I mean?
Is most modern soul released through vinyl through 45 or albums or both?
More through 45.
Oh, more through 45. You know what? I want to start collecting that.
There are very few people that do have full albums.
How do you feel about Mayor Hawthorne? You know Mayor Hawthorne?
Yeah, Mayor Hawthorne, man. I've been listening to him for years. I like his style, man.
That was dope.
He has good beats. He has a good his image. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The image is a big part of it, and that image sells.
I went to a show maybe a few months back, and he throws a little hip hop into it. You know, he'll say something about a Tribe Called Quest, like, "Can I kick it?" Yes, you can. And like he just does little things like that. And my father-in-law bought his vinyl that day for me, and I brought it home, and it was his latest album, and oh my gosh, it's dope.
Yeah,
Mayor Hawthorne, man. That's what I'm saying. Like these modern soul, I commend them. I'm glad that they're here, man. I'm glad that they're keeping that sound alive, because like you said, we digging for a rare, and you eventually you gonna kind of, the well's gonna get dry for the soul stuff. So why not start creating new stuff? You know, like it's not gonna be the exact same thing, but I think this music is, like I said, man, I think it's my favorite genre, and we can't let it, between being a 45 collector and between modern soul, I think we definitely got to keep it alive. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They do. There's a lot of good songs out there, man.
Yeah.
And the 45s, they're very affordable, man. Very affordable.
How much is the 45 right now from a modern?
Anywhere from 15 to like $25. You want to get them when they come out the first time too.
Yeah.
Because they gain value and.
There's like
first pressings.
Oh, the first pressings and all that.
And if they do good, they're gonna come out with second round.
You know what? I don't know if this exists, but they should also do modern Latin freestyle. I think that would be dope, right?
Right.
Because that's another staple in. I wonder if it take you home.
Yeah, in the
would
backyard.
You still make me? Is that Latin freestyle?
Yeah.
It is, right? Yeah. So I think that they should do that, like modern Latin freestyle. Because that, man, my girl, she's 10 years younger than me, and she bumps that in the kitchen all, like Latin freestyle. Latina women love Latin freestyle, bro. I don't know what it is. I think it's the energy, the fast pace is kind of dancey, but I think that that's another genre that they should definitely keep alive. You know what I'm saying? So any last words, anything you want to promote, anything where you might be at, or just anything?
Yeah, check me out on Santana Soul Radio.
Santana Soul Radio.
Check them out on Instagram at Santana Soul Radio, YouTube at Santana Soul Radio, and TikTok Santana Soul Radio 562. That's all information about the show. It's usually once a month, Friday nights, and it's all different collectors that come from everywhere, bro. Like everywhere.
Yeah.
To play the records and show their personal collection. And it's like every person that comes through, you're gonna hear music you've never heard before.
That's what's up.
New music that you'll be on,
Yeah.
Kind of opens doors to, different stuff.
Dope. That's what's up. So we gonna end it right here. Thank you for pulling up, man. Bandini, it was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me, man.
And
I appreciate you.
and keep digging, homie. Keep digging. Peace.